Hello and welcome to another Sunday fun day on the upper deck. I'm Lynn, there's Ciarra, and with us today, surprise, a special guest, Maza from Portrain Express. What's going on, Maza? Long time no see.
It has been a while. I missed all of you guys. It's been very busy, very hectic, um, and it's only going to get crazier for me for the next, few months, and then it's off to more craziness. So,
Well, great to have you here for yet another Rubber Game Sunday discussion. Getting a little bit tired of that, but before we get into the mix there, let's start like we always do with Spencer's question of the week. So I'm going to give Spencer basically is the historian of Pinstripe Chronicles. So before I get to the actual question, I'm going to give you the context from Spencer. This week is the 30th anniversary of the 1994 Major League Baseball players strike, which whatever you want to call it, strike, lockout, whatever. This was an especially hard time for Yankee fans because for the first time since 1980, the Yankees were in first place in August. They seemed to finally have a chance to get Don Mattingly to the World Series. And it looked like there was no stopping them until they faced the Blue Jays in a game in the last game of the championship series of the division series, and the Jays took it, blowing Don Mattingly's chances for a World Series to bits. So you see it all right there. Who was the Yankee pitcher that tossed in the last inning of that game? So 1994, 30 years ago. Listen to me. I remember I was a grown adult. um, yeah. So let's see. I see some guesses in the chat. Hey, Lori. Good morning. Lori says Jimmy Key. Hey, Uncle Tats. Let's do the good morning. CT. Let's do the roll call here. We got CT, Jared. We got Damien. We got who else did I see walk in early? Hey, John the Beagle Dad. Woof to you. Jared, good to see you. And I'm sure we're going to have more folks floating on in. So, let's see, where do we want to go? Let's relive the recent past and talk for a second about the White Sox series. So, we won the series, so there's that. And it was a mixed bag, wasn't it? What did you guys think about Heel last week? Game one.
I mean, it was rough. So I got to be there live in person, very unfortunately. Shout out to Luis Heel for ruining my day. Shout out to the White Sox for ruining my day because, Grady Sizemore was set out trying to prove something. He just became the manager of the White Sox. They have not won a series since June. So we had to know that they were going to come out swinging, right? But the Yankees just looked flat that first game. Heel didn't look good. Verdugo looked like he didn't know what he was doing in the outfield. It was just a wild game. Honestly, it was very unfortunate. Thankfully, game 2, Juan Soto 4, White Sox 0. So we won the game. And then game 3, we figured out, how to score some runs, and it was 10-2. And Judge hit his 300th home run. So at least we won the series, but that first game was really rough to watch. And it was mostly Yankees fans in Chicago. Like, there wasn't a lot of Chicago fans. And in the 7th inning, if you just looked over to the other sides of the field, you could just see droves of fans just leaving because it was just so bad.
Wow. Okay. I guess you can't blame them, but that's a major rule breaker in my family. You don't leave no matter how bad it is. But
yeah,
anyway. So Maza, what are your takes from that series?
Well, game 1 was a disaster. Ciarra hit the nail on the head. Luis Heel did not look good. His stuff didn't look anywhere near to where we know his stuff can be. The bats just did not seem to come alive. They just did not seem to be there. Verdugo I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know maybe he's just overused, just needs a day off. He didn't look good. Nobody looked good. I mean, the whole team just looked sluggish. Um, but then we came out the next day. Soto hits 3 bombs. We win 4-0. Next day we come back out, put up 10 runs on the board, but it took us almost 7 innings before we actually started scoring. The inconsistency of being able to drive in runs is very concerning, especially now that we're getting into the dog days of summer, getting into that postseason time. The fact that we're not driving in runs early in the game is very concerning, and it showed in that White Sox series, and it shows that we need everybody to click if we want any chance in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the one name that hasn't been mentioned yet is Cortez, because Cortez had a good outing game 2. And it was good to see him, in better form, more consistent, and really held things down. I guess anything compared to game 1 would have felt good, but
Yeah.
I think for all the concerns we have about Nestor, it was a solid outing from him. And the thing is, what's really concerning to me about the rotation as it is, and this is for everybody, is the inconsistency from
Mhm.
from from all the way down the line. It's just, there's nobody that we could say, oh, whoo, at least we got him on the mound today. Even Cole, who was so solid, on his most recent outing, 6 shutout innings. Good to see. But he's also been on off also.
Yeah.
And we know that we can't rely on the Orioles to keep being losers. It's the only thing, it's the rare time when we could say, "Yay, Boston won."
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank God for it. It's the only thing. It's the only reason that we're still in first place. So, that's gonna end really soon. And are the Orioles going to bust out, or are they going to continue to fizzle? We have to play like Baltimore is going to bust back out again and be start of the season. I'm sorry, Orioles, Baltimore, not Boston. I think I just said Boston. I jinxed myself before the show by warning Mazza that I do this all the time. Didn't I,
You
Mazza?
did.
I have one name in my head. I say something else. But look, Baltimore could bust out,
Yeah.
and then it's going to be gloves off. And if we don't figure a lot of stuff out right now, it's really going to be our chase to lose. So lots of concerns there. All right, and so the Tigers series is another one, man. Like, I just don't understand why. And Sarah, maybe you've been keeping count. I've been trying to keep count of how many consecutive shows we've had where it's a rubber game Sunday. I'm gonna say it's like
No, I
the
haven't.
83rd consecutive day, consecutive week. But this series should be ours, um, and we should have owned it from the start.
Agreed.
So and Cole set us up for it, and that was a lot of
Mhm.
fun. So, but last night, not. The bats are dead, guys. What do you want to say?
I mean, the Yankees are 8-6 this month, and the team is batting under 300, like as a whole. So it's like when one person struggles, they all struggle except for Judge. Like Judge is the only consistent person in this lineup right now, but that's because he's not human, so you can't even really take that into
Count.
consideration. But we're going up against Tariq Skubal tonight, and because he's so good, the Yankees will play well. We play so well against these Cy Young caliber pitchers, but when these guys who, for example, in Chicago, these guys who have 6+ ERAs, we can't figure out how to hit them for some reason. So I'm confident that we're going to take this series tonight because we play better against better pitchers.
Maza?
I agree with Sierra. There is one thing though I want to the question about that is why is it that we hit better against Cy Young, guys who are going for this, who are pitching like Cy Young pitchers rather than guys who have 6 ERAs? I don't know. That I can't answer. But if the Yankees want any chance to prove that they are worth anything this season, they have to do it against Skubal tonight. Skubal is a top of the line pitcher. Um, I don't really know how else to put it with him because he is that good. He is also a lefty that throws in the high 90s, and we've had trouble with lefties. That's something that we can't forget. We have had trouble with lefties this year, and being that he's a lefty, we really need to step it up.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And here we have Damien hoping for a rain out tonight so we don't have to face him. Um, I think sooner or later, we have to be ready to face the best of the best all the time, every single game. Um, and so we have Stroman on our end of the deal tonight. So um, Stroman, Skubal, Ciarra can't help but laugh. I will say that Stroman's last outing was encouraging. He did have a better outing. His velocity was back up. Um, that being said, we know that he's a low velo pitcher, but his location and command were better. And so he had a good outing. So to your point about CR, your point about we do better against Cy Young caliber pitchers. Let's just hope that Stroman rises to that occasion as much as we think the offense will.
Yeah, I mean, we can only hope. Like you said, he looked better in his most recent starting, but previous to that, he's had a full month of just not looking the greatest.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Yeah, and I just want to take a second to say hi to everyone else that's joined. I see that nosebleed made it in. Good to see you, FJ. Always good to see you, and Sean and Li Yankee King. Good to see you, and Dev. Good to have you here as well. Thanks for being here. So looking at the box score last night was like looking at a bowl of Cheerios. There was nothing but rings on the screen with the zeros all the way across the board. I mean, how pathetic was it that compared to the game one, game two, always all the way through. I mean, Judge only hit once, and Volpe had a hit, and the rest were like base on balls for any kind of action on the bags. I don't get it. What was that about?
I think we just came out flat. We didn't come to play. It was just one of those games where our team didn't show up. And it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate to watch. It's very unfortunate for the people who pay to go see it in person. And I realize, it's baseball. We're not going to win every game, but can we at least lose with some intensity, lose with some type of passion? Seeing absolutely nothing, it's like, what are we watching for?
Earn the loss, and right. I mean, own the loss and earn the loss of being able to say, look, we played our level best, and it just wasn't our night. Last night they deserved it. They just totally deserved it. Except for one player. I mean, Cabrera had the biggest production yesterday.
I will say I did not like the lineup yesterday at all. I don't know, like the analytics department just gets on my nerves. Our lineup produced very well the first game. There was no reason to change it. Honestly, I would have even been okay with Glaber taking a day off and having Peraza or Cabrera play second and having them both in the lineup together. I know, Peraza played very well in game one, so why not let him play game two? Maybe it would have made a difference.
I mean, to answer that, it's just according to analytics that if you play well, you've earned yourself a spot on the bench. That's how it is.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate to say that. But Peraza came out, played extremely well, like Sarah said, in game one. So the Yankees analytics department was like, "Oh, well, he did produce, so let's sit him down for the next game." It's unfortunately how that cycle works with them. And as much as I hate to say that, it is how it is. And it's not going to change unless we fix the analytics department, which is not going to get fixed anytime soon. So we're stuck with that same cycle over and over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and go ahead, Ciarra.
I was going to say, and to Damien's point, or even give Volpe a day off. He's looked really bad lately, and he's not had any time off. The league has figured him out, and he hasn't figured out how to adjust. We thought that, he came out of this slump after the All-Star break, but clearly he's going right back into it. So I know Oswaldo Cabrera and Oswald Peraza were never supposed to be in the same lineup, but at this point, I feel like it's not going to hurt anything, and you have both Volpe and Glaber struggling.
Yes.
Right. And going back to what you guys were just saying about Peraza sitting the game after, it's that obsession with the left right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you're right,
Drives me
Nosebleed.
crazy.
Yeah, and it's just not the right way of thinking. And but Volpe, I think, absolutely needs that day, because you're also seeing it on the field. I mean,
He looks sluggish.
not either sluggish or going for a ball that wasn't his, like he did coming over to Peraza's territory and trying to make that ridiculous catch and bobbling it. That is so uncharacteristically Volpe, who has like an extremely high baseball IQ. There's no, it wasn't misreading. I don't know what it was that he thought he had to, go all the way over there to do that. Peraza clearly was right there under it.
We can't forget that Volpe has 13 errors. It's not like he's played Gold Glove caliber shortstop all season long. Like, he's made some really great plays, but honestly, he has 13 errors. He looks just as bad as Gleyber Torres has all season, but we don't talk about it as much. But he's right up there with the MLB error leaders.
And it's time that we talk about it. I mean, this is a Gold Glove winner in his rookie year. And so he's going to look like, oil in a hot pan, that, now the burner's off. So he's got to figure out both plate and still some field stuff going on. So
part of me wonders, and I'm not trying to discredit Volpe, right? I think he made some great plays last season, but how many plays did Anthony Rizzo save for Volpe that resulted in that Gold Glove?
Multiple plays.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I never thought of that, but it makes sense. I guess we have to bring Rizzo up to prove it. But go ahead, Masa.
But here's an idea, though. Why not? And I don't know if the Yankees are ever going to do this, but why not give Peraza a shot at short and put Volpe at second and just see how that works for a game? Because
then the Yankees would have to admit that they were wrong.
Right. It would admit that, but it might take some of that pressure off of Volpe because, mind you, shortstop is not a position that you can – it's not second, it's not third. You still have the position to command the middle infield, plus you also have to, be there to back up your third baseman if, your third baseman can't make the play. So maybe giving those two a switch would not be a bad idea, and it wouldn't hurt because Peraza is a shortstop. He is – I think he was considered to have the best glove in the system, and having him at short may not be a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Eli is concurring with you in the chat. Maybe Volpe isn't, and Frank is quoting Donald the other day, saying that Volpe was given keys to the kingdom because he showed up last year as a rookie and just shined. Instead of remembering, they never should have forgotten that he was a rookie. And,
I don't think he shined that much personally. So defense, he looked okay. Offense, he didn't shine, but it was a season where we weren't playing for anything because we were so far out of it. Like, in the second half that we just let him ride it out and we let him figure it out when typically a rookie would have been benched. He came out looking really good in the beginning of this season, but he's, reverting back to freshman Volpe right now.
Right.
We need sophomore Volpe.
Say that
First
again.
half sophomore Volpe.
We need sophomore Volpe.
Definitely. Or he's getting left back.
Exactly.
He's not going to graduate on time. So, all right. Well, let's go back to some pleasantries and talk about the hot dogs this week.
Okay.
So, Maza, let's start with you.
I've got Cole, Judge, and Soto as my hot dogs. The reason for Soto is because he has been playing like a man possessed. We have not seen a guy at his age play for us in quite some time and do what he's done. We could potentially see two guys on our team with 40 plus homers in the same lineup in Judge and Soto. So for me, that's why Soto is one of my hot dogs, along with Judge, as we know, who's not human, as Sarah said, so you can't really count for that. And then Cole with a great outing against Detroit.
Okay, Ciarra, what you got?
Yeah, so we should just rename the slide to the Aaron Judge Show because Aaron Judge will be here every week unless he falls off the face of the earth. But I was doing some research the other day because, Judge just hit his 300th home run. Next up on the list is 303 for his bestie Anthony Rizzo's spot. I was asked a question about Barry Bonds, so I did some digging. Bonds and Judge are about the same age, like as they're doing these things. The only difference is if you look at the stats, Bonds only had that one season, or it was like that 75 home run season when he was on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
So Judge could potentially end up being better than Barry Bonds in the long run because, yes, he's 32, but he's not aging the way that DJ and Rizzo and all these other guys are aging. I don't see Aaron Judge slowing down anytime soon, and I think he's going to play for us into his 40s just like Derek Jeter did. So Aaron Judge. And then I have Soto simply for the Tuesday night game against the White Sox because he won the game. It was Soto for White Sox 0. Nobody else did anything. And then I have Cole. So he went 6 innings strong, only gave up 4 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. And in his previous start, he had 10 strikeouts. So he's looked really good in his last 2 starts.
Okay. Yeah. And so I didn't put Soto as a hot dog. Don't come at me. Solely because of the series. I guess I'm living in the direct short term here. Put up zeros all the way across. And so that just to me, but I'll give him a mini wiener because we do award those. He could have a little cocktail, Frank, on my end. I had Cortez on the list solely because I might never get to put him there again, and he did have that solid outing in Chicago, and it was good to see some semblance of what we relied on him for there in Chicago. And I also have Cabrera as a hot dog because I don't think we talk enough about his consistency. We're talking a lot about inconsistency, and this is a kid that doesn't get to play every day. And look at his batting average compared to some of the regular guys, and he's producing at a higher level, and he always comes through in the clutch. Always kind of being an exaggeration. Yeah, I get it, but we don't lift Cabrera up enough. And if your experiment comes to be, Maza, and we try that experiment with shifting Peraza and Volpe, then that solves the issue of Peraza versus Cabrera. And we got our infield all set without having to be in a platoon situation. This kid deserves to play. He says it on every interview. Jared's wondering where am I going with this. I'm not sure which thing you mean, but Where I'm going about Cabrera is he deserves to be in the lineup consistently. And what happens when Birdie gets back? If he gets back, who knows? But I think he's earned his spot there, and he's always happy to platoon and go wherever he's needed, and he does well when he has to pivot. But give this kid more consistency and let him show who he really is.
Also, I
Yeah.
forgot to mention. I'm sorry, Sarah. There's one thing I forgot to mention. Austin Wells. We haven't spoken about him yet. Austin Wells has been one of the best offensive catchers in baseball since getting consistent playing time.
Mhm.
Yep, I would agree with that. Absence of yesterday, I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was voted to the voted what catcher of the month for July.
I think
So
that's what it was.
Trevino going down was probably the best, and it sucks to say this because obviously I don't want anyone to get hurt, but Trevino going down was probably the best thing for Wells.
Yep.
Now that Trevino's back, it'll be interesting to see how they do this because platooning them every other day, it was hurting both of them.
right.
So I think the Yankees need to let Wells be the primary catcher and let Trevino catch maybe two days a week.
So I think Boone did say that Wells is going to get the majority of the playing time. If I heard that correctly, Boone did say that that was what was going to happen and that Wells was going to continue to get his playing time.
Good.
Yeah, let's hope so. And people in the chat are saying Sean's saying he deserves the majority of the catching duty. Karen's agreeing. Hey, Karen. And would we say that Wells is leading for Rookie of the Year? Jonathan wants to know.
I mean, as a Yankees fan, well, I'd love to see that, but as a baseball fan, I don't think he is.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair.
All right. So let's then go to the other end of this continuum and talk about who's in the doghouse. So for you're laughing already.
Sorry.
Why don't you go ahead, Ciarra?
I'm going to start off strong with Alex Verdugo. In the chat, we were already talking about his last home run was July 6th versus Boston. And I feel like Verdugo, in the beginning of the season, we were like, the Boston fans are wrong. Verdugo's great. He's going to have a great season. But he's been playing like at historically low numbers for Verdugo. And he's doing exactly what the Boston fans said he was going to do. Start off hot and then just fall off the face of the earth. And honestly, I had to watch him play the outfield on Monday, and he looked like he didn't know what he was doing.
Yes.
It's not acceptable at this point. And, in the past, we've been like, oh, well, usually he plays the outfield very well. We can forgive him, after that loss against Baltimore, which was 100% like a catchable ball. But lately, he just looks lost. And then at the plate, like, I don't know what he's doing. He's batting I didn't write it down. But he's not batting very well right now. And then after Verdugo, I have Volpe because
233.
Thank you. So Volpe's my second one. In his last 15 games, he's batting 186. So he's 11 for 59. And, somebody on Twitter pointed out, so I started paying attention. He's always behind in the count. Always, always, always behind in the count. So he just looks really bad right now at the plate, and he needs to make an adjustment and figure it out. But also, like we were talking about earlier, he looks bad in the field. And like I said, we don't pay attention to, and I've had this argument with people on Twitter before. Volpe has 13 errors, okay? He's in the top, 5-6 MLB errors right now. And we like to just shove that to the back of our minds like it doesn't exist, but it does. He does not look good on either side of the ball right now. And then my favorite guy to bash on, Carlos Rodon. He was finally looking good, and then he came out yesterday and looked terrible. 3.1 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs. Yeah, it doesn't work for me. He had 2 really solid outings and then went back to evil Carlos yesterday. I'm kind of over it at this point. We pay you a bajillion dollars. You need to play better.
I'm picking up what you threw down, but I'll have something to add after Mazza goes.
So for me, the first guy's Verdugo. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if it's mental or what it is, but he has not looked like he he looks lost, completely lost. Also, supposedly, he is allergic to what the batting gloves are made out of and what's in tattoo ink. Apparently, that's what's been reported. I don't know how true that is, but that's something that there was a major story on that. But Verdugo for me is definitely in the doghouse. Another one for me would be Volpe because he just can't seem to figure it out. He played so well in the first half, as Ciarra alluded to earlier, and so did Julin. But he can't seem to figure out how to break out of this slump. He'll play 2 or 3 fantastic games and then go right back in it. We need to see more out of Volpe. Maybe a day off, maybe a position switch, or both would do him some good. And then for me, I'm going to give it. I have a couple that I'm going to give it to is Rodon for his inconsistency, being consistently consistent, and Ben Rice. Now, this is not any of Ben Rice's fault because he's not getting consistent playing time, so that's hurting him. But regardless if it is on him or not, when he has been given the chance to play, he hasn't been playing like he was when he first came up, and I would love to see more out of him. But that also goes into him getting more consistent playing time.
Yep, all of that. And Sean brings up a good point. He's not even taking advantage on the bases when he manages to get there one way or another.
Yep.
So I think that's another vote for let him take a couple of days off.
Yep.
And have him available to platoon on out. Maybe just some good old American old fashioned rest is what's in order there. Was that your list there, Maza?
Yep.
So I'm gonna double back to Rodon and say that he now to me is the Clay Holmes of the starting rotation. It's either slam dunk Rodon or poop the bed Rodon, and you just can't have that. And it goes back to what I said at the top of the show. All the way through the lineup, we just don't have that one lights out guy that we know every single outing we could breathe for a game. But it's a disappointment because he came back. I mean, can anyone remember spring training? I know it's hard to do, but we were like, he has been healed. Hallelujah. Oh, he's back. Now I know why we signed him for $3 gajillion. And now here we are again. It didn't take all that long either. So, and Rice. I have Rice in the doghouse. He's the only one that I didn't hear you guys mention.
I did.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'm sorry. So I agree with Maza. Rice belongs in the doghouse. and so yeah, he's another one. Just because he came up and he was like the second coming and doing all the things. Look what we did. We hung our hopes on that and dreams on that. And now he looks extra horrible because we thought, oh, first base solved. Wow, what a player. Like, he's a catcher, but look what he did, and he adjusted so fast. Well, now look what we got. The bag of chips has the crumbs at the bottom of it, ladies and gentlemen. So so I have some concern there, and I hope not to have his name in the same category next week. And so let's see, is there anyone else? No, in the chat they're still going on. Oh, let's see what
I have one last person / team to put in the doghouse.
Okay.
Our analytics department, like I mentioned earlier, they are killing me. We want to talk about consistently inconsistent. The analytics department, we will be on a roll, and they'll be like, you know what? Analytics shows that that's not good enough, and they change it up, and they put the guys who are producing on the bench, and then they throw off our mojo, and then we have a flat game like we did yesterday. Do I think analytics belongs in baseball? Absolutely. I think it helps to a degree. However, the nerds are killing baseball.
Yes.
They're putting it too much, and they're relying too much on their little computer stats. sometimes when someone's playing well, just let them freaking play. Ride the hot hand.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with that. 100%.
Yeah. Oh, and I like it so much that I think you could say it in the segment coming up later, because that is a wild hot take, and I agree with it. Um, and I just wanted to give you a second to respond to this, Ciarra.
It doesn't matter if it hurts me or not, Li. They're not going to bench Glaber in the postseason. He's a veteran who has the experience. Unless he screws up terribly in a postseason game, they're not going to do it, regardless of my feelings about it.
Yeah, and I go ahead, Maza.
I was going to say I do agree with Li, but I also agree with Ciarra. I do think the better infield tandem would be Peraza and Volpe at second and short, but I don't think they're going to bench Glaber unless he does something so catastrophic that it completely screws the team.
Yeah.
We're going to wait for that to happen.
Unfortunately.
I mean, Glaber doesn't play terrible in the postseason either, so we can't. We don't know what Peraza does in the postseason. We don't know what Volpe does in the postseason because we weren't there last season.
No.
Right. And this is a week where I am firmly against even thinking about Torres anywhere near the doghouse. I know sometimes we put a paw in the doghouse. I don't think he even gets a paw in the doghouse. I think it, relatively speaking, at least. And I'm not just doing that for my co-host. So
you know what? Everybody read Damien's comment. Glaber has better numbers than Judge in the postseason because our captain, as much as we love him, he goes ghost in the postseason, and we rely on Glaber Torres and Giancarlo Stanton.
That's right. And right now, Torres has a 237 and Stanton has a 238 average. And Doogie, like we said before, is 233. So really, if you want to go by the numbers, and in this case, we're gonna like the numbers and say, he's right there in the mix. So we're pivoting to DJ here. I guess they're deciding to think about who's going to go where.
Li did bring up a point though earlier about how playing DJ at first over Rice has killed whatever confidence or momentum that Rice had, which is 100% true because Rice was doing just fine until he got platooned with DJ, and then that's when it all went downhill.
Analytics, because Rice would play very well in the game, and then they would put DJ in for the last 2 innings for defense, and it's like Rice has shown that he can make those plays. It doesn't. I don't see the point.
Right. Yeah, and so Frederick here. Hey, Frederick, didn't see you come in, saying the same exact thing. That's a really good connection to make. I have to think about doing that too, and thinking about the why and the root cause of it, which is an analytical approach, by the way. All right. I love this extension to the rules about who's in the doghouse. I love that it's not just going to be about the guys on the team. Oh, the possibilities. I wish I knew in advance because I have a lot to say. So there we go for in the doghouse. Let's move on. Let's talk about the injured. So we got some good news on Chisholm this week, right? Yep. And so great to hear that he doesn't need surgery. They have him working out on the field. We knew that we were so relieved that it wasn't his throwing arm that was injured. And so they're taking advantage of conditioning him, avoiding the injured arm so that he's ready, hopefully on day 11. Because, the thought is that it's probable. Boone won't commit. You can't blame him for that. It's very rare that you can't blame Boone for something, but I will say he's not committing to it. But Chisholm sure is. Chisholm didn't even understand why he's being put on the IL in the first place. He came ready to go. We really need him back. And then the question then opens up again of the problem we solved earlier in the show, where, I'm like, oh, this is all neat and tidy. So that gives us Peraza, Cabrera, and Volpe all in line. Oh, and along comes Chisholm, and what do we do there? But I'll be happy to have that problem to solve. So that was good news there. And Ciara, I know that you had a bunch of injury updates to talk about.
Yeah, so September is going to be interesting because based on this injury report, it seems like we are holding off on some rehabs and starting the clock until September. But so I'll start with pitching. So Ian Hamilton threw a live batting practice on the 16th, so just 2 days ago. Boone said it went very well. That was it. That was the update. Cody Poteet, technically his 60-day IL ended yesterday. That's the only update I have. Sounds like he might return in September as well. Clark Schmidt is supposed to throw his fourth and hopefully final live BP today and then start his rehab so that he can return in September, which I cannot wait.
Yes.
Lou Trevino is rehabbing in AAA. He played, or AA, I'm sorry. He played a game on the 14th. And Rizzo and Birdie are both feeling good. If there is no more setbacks for Birdie, they will start his clock on September 1st for his rehab. And Rizzo, there's no time frame, but he's doing all of the baseball things, all of the activities. So they're looking at him coming back in September as well. So it'll be very interesting once we hit that September time frame. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We won't see, Pereira 2025, Jonathan Loizaga 2025. And then, like you said, Lynn, Chisholm, he has a UCL injury, but it doesn't seem to be that serious. He's supposed to be swinging the bat either today or tomorrow. And hopefully, it was a weird slide that he took in Chicago. Actually, he had 2 weird slides in Chicago. So hopefully it's just more of a soreness than anything.
Right. Okay. Well, that's all good stuff. And I had picked up that Poteet has actually had a couple of live batting practice things. So
yes, so I believe he has. But his IL technically ended yesterday, like the 60-day, because it was retroactive, and then it ended on 8/17. He tossed a live batting practice on the 15th, but there's still no this is the time frame that he's coming back.
Right.
When is Loizaga a free agent?
That's a great question. Isn't it next year?
I thought it was this year, but I could be wrong.
It'll be interesting for him because he didn't even get to pitch this year.
Yeah, that because I know you spoke about his injury and everything, and I know he's supposed to be a free agent soon. I just didn't know when, and if it is this year, that would really suck for him because this would have been a year for him to showcase. So
I'm trying to look it up right now.
While you do, any prospect news anyone wants to talk about? And Eli says that Loizaga is a free agent after this season.
Yeah, so it looks like he signed arbitration last season.
Yeah,
before the season, and then unfortunately, he went down. But what? If that gives the Yankees a tough decision to make because the guy is injury prone. So do we want to bring him back on a cheap deal because we have so many free agents this season, or do we let him walk?
I would let him walk because I don't. And it's not anything against him. It's the fact that he is injury prone, like you said, and we already have enough injury prone guys as it is. We don't need more of that.
It's the Yankee way.
With DJ being injured all the time, Rizzo not being able to stay healthy, it's too much of a risk, and it's not worth the money, even on a cheap deal. If anything, if the Yankees wanted to, maybe try in the offseason and make a deal for a reliever or try to find a reliever on the market. But I think we got to cut Loizaga loose and let him go.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I just the Yankees are they make silly decisions. So
yeah, and the chat concurs. So motion carried. All in favor voted. We got quorum. Yeah, So let Johnny Lowe go be Johnny Lowe that we used to know for another team, because that's what will inevitably happen. Which, off topic a little bit, but how about Sevy and his complete game
Yeah.
shutout last night?
Listen,
Why
Sevy
couldn't
has
he do
looked
that for
so
us?
good this season. He's looked so good this season. And there is a Mets fan on Twitter who constantly bashes Sevy, and I'm like, he looks like a totally different player for the Mets than he did for the Yankees the last 2 seasons. How can you complain about that?
Oh, it kills me because I love Sevy so much, and it hurt. It hurt to let him go. Yeah, I don't know what it is about the air on the other side of the friggin' river. Maybe we just lift the stadium and move it over to Flushing. I don't know. Maybe there's something. Maybe there's consecrated grounds over there we don't know about that we should be playing on.
I think we'll stay in the
Because look at Bader over there too. So two heartstrings are like broken from being stretched so far out.
No.
But look, I'm happy for Sevy because my heart hurt for Sevy last season.
Absolutely.
He did absolutely everything he could do to be the guy. He just decided to be the guy over there. And Karen, you're not wrong. We've been saying this for a long time. It's like,
Mhm.
we
Our
got
medical team has been atrocious.
Yeah.
Absolutely atrocious.
He
And a
killed
prime
Rizzo's
example.
career.
Yeah, that's why I was just getting to that. That's absolutely correct. With what they did with Rizzo, that's unacceptable. That is unfat, and that is not okay. You could have really seriously hurt him even more than what he was already hurt.
Yep. And IKF is throwing himself down all over the place out with the down in Pittsburgh. And hey, Nathaniel. Yep. And yeah, he did get hurt, but that's all right. He'll forever be Booty Bader. But he is doing the things over there. And I love that we now have an additional category for Doghouse. Okay, cool. Now we just added another one. So I think we were going to see if anyone had something about farm dogs. I know Li had something about Spencer Jones up above. Let's
Yeah,
see.
his strikeout rate is 40% because he's not ready for the big leagues. Sorry. I know everyone was like putting our hopes and our dreams on Spencer Jones, but we should have traded him before the season. I will die on that hill. Yankees fans will continue to kill me over it, but I just don't think there's a future for Spencer Jones on this team.
I know this is going to kill a lot of fans, but I was okay with trading Jones in a deal for Scooble. I would have been 100% okay with that.
I wanted Dylan Cease personally before the season started, but
He threw a no-hitter, though, this year.
I know.
Our friends in the chat are killing me because I now they're bringing up every fucking player we lost last season and talking about how good they are. Go ahead and kill a dead old lady. I'm already dead. Like, yes, Estrada on Giants, Higgy and Wade on Padres.
Oh, Piggy.
And then Duhar for crying out loud.
Michael King. Look at Michael King.
Michael King. Is somebody gonna throw Monty at me too? You want to throw a little Monty?
Monty's been horrible this year, though.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Masa.
He hasn't been good, and he's also hurt.
Oh, that I don't like.
I saw Jameson Tyone pitch for the Cubs, and he looked good.
I want to say that we dodged a bullet with Monty, and that's because he didn't get a full spring in. This is what happens when pitchers sign and they don't get a full spring in.
Yeah, I mean, look at Blake Snell. It's been up and down.
Jason brings up a good point about that too, about the K rate, which you had alluded to, Ciarra.
Yeah, but that's another thing. And Jason, this is no hate to you. You're great. But people keep comparing Spencer Jones to Aaron Judge. Spencer Jones is Spencer Jones. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. There is no other Aaron Judge, okay? That dude is a freak of nature. I just think that we could have did so much for our team in the offseason or even at the deadline if we were willing to just let go of Spencer Jones. Because let's be realistic here. Is there room for Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones in the outfield, if we have Soto, if we have Judge, we still have Stanton, who is mostly going to DH for the next few seasons. Like, where is he going to fit in? Are we going to let this kid sit in the minors for the next 17 years while everyone complains that we're not bringing him up, but there's literally nowhere to put him? Or are we going to let him go? And we need pitching. We always need pitching. The Yankees always need pitching. We've needed it since I was born. I don't know why we don't get it.
They could, if they want to. Don't know if they'll ever do it, but they might have even started doing it. Is give him reps at first, because Rizzo's probably going to be gone. That way you can have 100%. Jones and I
said 100% he'll be gone.
And giving Jones reps at first might not be a bad idea, just until you have Judge into that DH role, and then you can put him in the outfield. I mean,
but then where does that put Stanton?
No, but that would be after Stanton's gone, though, is what I'm saying.
So but how old is Spencer Jones? He's already like 25 or 26, right?
No. He's 21 or 22. He's not 25 or 26.
Why was I thinking that he was older?
I have no idea.
Maybe it's because I just want him gone so badly.
Probably. Oh, there you go. He's 23.
Jason's not letting go. Jones, he's now throwing Dominguez. Hey, Jason, by the way, good to see you. But Dominguez is another big question mark with what's happening.
Well, Dominguez, we will see in September. I have no doubts that we're going to see Dominguez in September at this point. However, if you guys really want to sign Juan Soto, right? We're going to throw $1 million at Juan. $1 million. We're going to throw $1 billion at Juan Soto. So you have Soto, Judge, Dominguez. You also have Trent Grisham again next year because he was a freebie with Soto, and he's still under contract until he doesn't go into free agency until after 2025. And then you have Stanton, who you still have. No one's going to take his contract, nor should the Yankees get rid of him because he's our best postseason hitter. So he's going to DH. So just relatively thinking about it, like you're not seeing Spencer Jones for another 2 to 3 years. That's a long time away. I want to win the World Series now. Okay, like I want to win it now. I want to win it next year. I don't, do we need to think long term? Sure, but we need to think about right now. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just not sold on Spencer Jones at this point, and I think that we could have gotten so much for him if we were willing to let him go.
Here's the other thing, though, with Dominguez is his health. He's been hurt quite a bit, and that scares me for such a young kid. I don't know if it's maybe he's just pushing too hard.
I'm not worried about it, honestly.
To get back to the majors, but Tommy John surgery, and then he had an injury this year. That's my concern with him, especially being so young with as much talent as he has.
I'm not worried about it because I think the injury that he sustained this year was just them pushing him too hard too soon. Because I think, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but the Yankees probably initially were going to bring him up sooner rather than later, but now they realize that that's not going to happen. I don't think Dominguez is injury prone. I think he's too young to call him injury prone. I think he had a freak injury because he put on the pinstripes, and that's what happens when you play for the New York freaking Yankees. You get injured. I mean, look at Birdie. Look at Jazz Chisholm. How long were they with us before they went down with an injury? Like, it is us. We are cursed.
It's like our the rite of passage.
Sucks. Yeah, 100%.
And Lori brings up a good point. The other thing is they want to limit his at-bats so that he could be a rookie next season.
And that's why I think they'll call him up in September, but not anytime sooner.
Right. So we'll see the kid up here in the show again, but yeah, later in the season. And I think it's right that they want to give him a shot at Rookie of the Year. And look at us already projecting that he's Rookie of the Year material, right? So this is also where we shoot ourselves in the foot. This is why I say every week, I haven't said it yet, and we're getting towards late in the show. Manage your expectations, everybody.
So I think also we need to remember that prospects are just prospects until they come to the big leagues and show us otherwise. Like right now, they are just prospects, okay? We hug them too tightly in this system.
Yeah.
Why?
I agree with that.
Right. And Damien's telling us a little story, a bedtime story. Once upon a time, people called Judge injury prone. Yep. And look what happened. And by the way, going back to Judge for a minute, he's on pace for 58 home runs this season,
Crazy.
Judge
which
isn't
means that
human.
which means that 63 is not a stretch. Can you imagine if we get that? I mean, if he's on pace for 58,
He's a freak of nature.
yeah. I mean, I'm not
Judge is a
ruling out
machine.
that we'll see 63. Hit 63 and have your 300 in the same season. I don't know if there's an award for that. They'll have to invent one. Go ahead, Maz. I know you're saying something.
I was going to say, Judge is a freak of nature. Judge is not a human being. He's an absolute machine. All this guy does is hit homers, doubles, and drives and runs. This is all he's done all year. At this pace, he could very well win his second MVP, which he should. Soto a close second, but regardless of that, he should win the MVP this year. I mean, he is on pace to do something that I don't remember any other Yankee being able to do in back-to-back seasons. So
he's going to need his own wing in Cooperstown.
Yeah,
100%.
All right, we've kind of been having hot takes all along, but let's have at it. So go. You guys decide who wants to go first.
You can go ahead, Ciarra.
Listen, every time I talk, it's a hot take. Okay, I'm just hot. I give hot takes the whole show. I'm just going to piggyback off of the whole MVP thing, and it's not really a hot take, but all these sports reporters need to stop hyping Bobby Witt Jr. up and stop filling his head up because he's not winning the MVP. There's not a race. It is Aaron Judge and then everybody else. If Aaron Judge doesn't win the MVP, it is a travesty, and whoever is voting is an idiot because Judge could literally carry this team on his back. Like, it's not even close. Secondly, this hot take, again, not really a hot take, but my guy Marcus Stroman is going to pitch 6 full innings tonight, and we're going to win the series because I need him to pitch well more than I need air.
Oh, I feel like a song's going to come out of that. Go ahead, Maza.
So I got a couple hot takes. First one is Volpe's going to get benched tonight. He's going to get the day off. He's going to get some rest.
No, that's a hot take.
He and Peraza are going to have a position switch.
That's a hot take because the Yankees don't like to be wrong.
Just for tonight, because they're sitting him, they're going to try Peraza at short? Or are you saying that we're
No,
going to
I'm saying after Volpe sits for a game, they're going to switch him and Volpe and give Peraza his fair shot at short.
Okay. Lou, we know we could count on you for the hot takes. Volpe will always be average. What do we say about that, guys?
Yeah. But that's what happens when you compare these guys to the ones that come before them. Stop comparing him to Derek Jeter. Stop comparing Spencer Jones to Aaron Judge and Mike Trout and Bryce Harper and Mickey Mantle. Let them figure out who they are and let them be that player. Not everybody is going to be an MVP caliber player. You know what? Sometimes we need those average dudes. You can't win a World Series with just – look at the Padres. They couldn't win a World Series with Soto, Tatis Jr., Manny Machado. Like, you don't need just MVP caliber dudes all up and down the lineup. You need average guys. If we stop comparing Volpe to Jeter, like, I think we'll see who he really is.
Yeah, and I will take an average dude who is consistent and brings the rest of the team along over a spotty, long drive power hitter any day of the week and twice on Sunday. And oh, look, today is Sunday. So I guess I'm saying it twice. So with that being said, I'm going to give you my hot take, which is Giancarlo Stanton. Thanks for the great segue and pivot there, everybody. Listen, Stanton hasn't been the most productive of power hitters, but he's still doing his job. He's doing it when it matters, and he will be doing it in the postseason when we get there, and that's what he's paid to do. You know, if he gets on base with a dinger that gets him to first or second, that's a mistake. That wasn't his intention. It just didn't go far enough. So maybe we'll see more of that. But I don't understand. I'll never understand the lack of numbers of the people on the Stanton bandwagon. I'll always be on his bandwagon because he's clutch and comes through, and he's necessary. And the rest of the team is built in such a way that they should be filling in all those holes and gaps in his production. He's really there to do what he's doing, and he's doing it.
Yeah.
I said what I said.
Yeah. And then I just want to respond to Lou's, comment. I've heard Volpe be compared to Jeter since he was coming up through the system. That's where my beef is. But if you want to compare him to his peers, Gunnar Henderson has 18 errors. Okay. So what am I comparing him to? So all of the shortstops right now are struggling. Ellie De La Cruz has 26 errors. Henderson has 18. Volpe has 13. So they all need to figure it out in the field, clearly. Volpe just also needs to figure it out at the plate.
There you go. And Sean, if I could put a check through the monitor, I would. I'd send you a check for that. Yeah, and he's got the numbers to back that up, and he's not done yet. So maybe there will be a Judge Stanton wing. Who knows?
Is Stanton 32?
Is he what?
Is he 32 or is he 33?
He's 33. I tell you right now.
I don't know.
34.
Okay, so he's 34.
Ooh, he getting up there.
He's still producing, which you can't say a lot about most 34-year-olds who are playing in this day and age. Most 34-year-olds are declining. Stanton is producing.
DJ.
Yeah, DJ, facts. However, Stanton is one of those guys who is producing and doing what he's supposed to do. And in the postseason, he does produce. So you have to give him credit for that. And also, Ciarra, to add to your error numbers, Witt Jr. also has 13 of them.
Yeah. So see, like, I get maybe comparing the bats a little, but if we're comparing the fielding, all of these like superstar shortstops are struggling.
And Damian, you know why I had to put this up here? Because my legs are going to be 60 next Sunday. Really and truly. I'm old. And we're forgetting the work that the body that Stanton came back with this year. And so those legs were slimmer and toner, and let's just agree that he's going 10 miles per hour to get to first instead of 2. So it's an improvement. We got to think relatively here, but stop the 60 hate. I'm already vulnerable. I'm hugging 59 like a trophy. Please don't give it to someone else. Okay. So, all right. So let's get back to the trivia question of the week as we wind on down. So I am going to put it up one last time, everybody. Oh, Damien. Wait, I'm sorry. Yep. And my husband knows too. Yeah, he's my free pass. Anyway, so the question was, for those of you that joins us a little bit later, this week marked the 30th anniversary of the 1994 MLBPA strike. I was 30. Those of you like, I wasn't even born yet. Yeah. Anyway, the timing was especially terrible because the Yankees were in first place. Everyone was hoping that Donnie Baseball would get another chance at a World Series ring, but the Blue Jays made sure he wouldn't when they won the last game before the strike began. So here we go with the answer. The pitcher was Joe Osanio. Osanio, I guess, potato. Joe Osanio was the pitcher. So that game went 13 innings, ladies and gentlemen. It was August 11th, 1994. And in the top of the 13th, Osanio gave up a homer to Ed Sprague, and that made the Toronto lead take the lead. The bottom of the 13th, Mattingly walked. And then Matt Noakes almost cleared the right center field wall, but the ball was caught. Game over. I remember Matt Noakes. I don't remember Arsenio Hall. But, all right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And Spencer, thanks as always for the great question. That you had everybody stumped. I didn't see a correct guess. Even I was stumped, and you gave me the answer. Okay, so as always, everybody, I see a lot of people in the chat that have their own shows. Check out the Strike Zone. NFE has a fabulous show on his channel. If 161 were ever in the chat, shout out to their show. Make sure you follow them. I want to thank Maza for joining us today. That was such a nice surprise, and we love surprises around here.
Thank you
Thanks
for
for
having
being
me.
here, Maza. Either Ciarra, you have any last words? Maza, you have any last words?
My last words are the Yankees are going to freaking beat the Tigers today. They're going to light Screwball up because he's a Cy Young caliber pitcher. So we're just, it's going to be like a home run derby for us because why not? And we're gonna keep winning. And when we get to Baltimore next month, we're gonna take that serious and we'll have that tiebreaker.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. I think Soto is going to go off again. Judge is going to do what Judge does, and I think that if Austin Wells does play tonight, I think he's going to have a nice game himself.
And I think Volpe's going to remind himself of who he is and what he could do, and in turn, he'll be reminding us. And I want to remind all of you that please like, share, follow. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget that our brothers of Pinstripe Chronicles are live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Everyone in this chat knows them and goes there, but we're going to remind it anyway. And just as always, can we please go Yankees? Can we please just do the thing? Go Yankees!